Welcome back to FK Life. Learning is fun and easy. Today I have for you an amazing trick to find the percentages of any big numbers that you can think of. So let's do it. Okay, so now let's check this out. Okay, in percentage I would recommend, that we know these 6 percentages, and then you can practically solve any kind of problem of percentages. All right, so let's see what this is. Okay, 100% basically means that if a number is n, it remains the same. That is, you multiply it by 1, which means it is still the same. Okay, which means it is equal to n. All right, so 100% is that number itself. And then you come to 50%, which basically means half of n. All right, or you can say half of 100%. All right, so that is 50%. And then it is 25%. 25% is basically the number divided by 4, or the 1/4 of the number. Or you can also to make it faster, you can if you have a 50% of that number and then you half that 50%, so you get a 25%. And then 10% of a number is basically dividing it by 10. So dividing any number by 10 means basically that you're moving 1 point backwards, right? The decimal point is going 1 point backwards. For example, if you had 80, let's say, if you had 80, then basically 80 means 80.0, which we do not write because it doesn't have, it's not important. So if we have to divide this by 10, only the decimal point goes, because there's just 1 0, so the decimal point goes 1 space back. Okay, so that's what it means here, that 10% basically means dividing by 10, which means moving decimal 1 place back. Okay, and then you have 5%. 5% basically means 1 divided by 20 times n, or it can just be the half of the 10% that 10% is just 1 point back, and then you make half of that, which gives you 5%. Okay, then you have 1%. 1% is basically dividing by 100. So when you were dividing by 10, there was only 1 0, so we were moving 1 decimal backwards. Now in this case there are 2 zeros in the denominator, so we move 2 decimal spaces backward. So let's say the same 80 divided by 100 would become 1 place backwards and 2 place backwards, so the answer would be 0.8. Okay, so it's really easy to find 100%, 50%, 25%, 10%, 5%, and 1% of any number. Okay, now keeping this in mind, let's go ahead with some examples. So let's take the first example I have written here, 40% of 80. Let's see how we can do this. Okay, now it's 40% of 80. So 40 is basically, what is 40? 40 is, either you can write it as 50 minus 10%, or you can even write it as 4 times 10%. Okay, it's the same. So let's see what we can do here. We can do it both ways. I'll show you both the ways. Okay, so 50 minus 10. So basically 50% of 80 is half, like I told you. So it is 40. Minus 10% is just 1 point backwards. So 80 becomes 8. Okay, which is 32. Okay, now in this case, 4 times 10%. 10% of this number is 8. So 4 times 8 is 32. So you see, you can just write this in whichever form you find easier, and do that. So you basically 40% has to be represented in the terms that the percentages of. Okay, so that was the first example. Now let's take the second example. The second example here is 65% of 370. Okay, this is a little complicated. So it is 65% of 370. Okay, so now 65% can be represented as 50% plus 10%. We don't know 15%, so we again bifurcate that as well. So 50% plus 10% plus 5%. Okay, So 50% of 370 is basically half. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 5 is 10. So it's 185 plus 10% of 370 is just one space back, which is 37, and 5% is half of 10%. Half of 10%, which will be 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so which is equal to let's do this, 185 and 37 and 18.5. so which will be 0.5 will stay as it is, and 8 and 6, 15 and 5, 20, 20 and 10 and 14, 14 and 240.5. so our answer is 240.5. let's check our answers. So yes, so this is 240.5. okay, now let's check on 25% of 920. okay, so 25% of 920, 25% of 920. okay, 25% basically means that instead of doing the, you can even do it the other way, but I would suggest that 25% can just be a division by 4. So basically if you divide 920 by 4, it should give us 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, and a 0. So 230 is our answer. Okay, so 230 is our answer. Now the next example. Okay, so now the next example that we are going to take is 15% of 75, which is 11.25. so we'll find it out here. Okay, so 15% of 75 makes it, the 15% can be divided into 10% plus 5%, which is equal to, okay, 10% of 75 is just the 75, yeah, you just put the point backwards, that's 7.5, and 5% is just half of 7.5. so half of 7.5 would be 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 7 is 14, and 2 times 5 is 10. so which is 7.5 plus 3.75. so let's add it here. 7.5 plus 3.75, which is 5 and 12 and 8, 9, 10, 11. so it's 11.25. so as we can see that our answer here is 11.25. all right, okay, so let's take the next example, which is 85% of 620. okay, so let's do it here. It's 85% of 620, which is so now let's do the bifurcation, which is 100% minus 15%, but we do not know 15%, so we'll make it 10% minus 5%. okay, so 100% of 620 is 620 minus 10%, which is 62, minus 5% of 62, I mean you have to make half of 10%, so which is 31. so now we do 620, 62 plus 31 is 93. so 620 minus 93, which is 7, and this will become 5, and this will be 11, 2 and 5. so our answer is 527. as you can see here, the answer is 527. okay, so now you can see there's a line here, because until now we were just doing the percentages ending with 5, 5, 5, and or the percentages ending with 0. okay, but now a little bit different. We will do the percentages which are ending with 2, 6 and 1. so although it's going to be the same method, but definitely it's going to be slightly tricky. so let's come to the next one, which is 22% of 88. okay, let's do it here. 22% of 88, which is okay, 22% of 88, which is, okay, let's do 20 is basically equal to 2 times 10%. all right, 2 times 10%, and 2 is basically 2 times 1%. So our answer is going to be 2 times 10% plus 2 times 1%. Okay, so 2 times 10% is 2 times 10% of this is 8.8. We just move the decimal. Okay, plus 2 times 1%, we move the decimal twice, so it becomes 0.88. Okay, so let's do this. 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 8 is 16, 17.6, plus you have just the decimal to be moved, so it's 1.76. so let's do 17.6 plus 1.76, which is 6. 7 and 6 is 13, and then you have your 7, 8, 9 and 1, so it is 19.36. Let's check the answer. Yes, the answer here is 19.36. Okay, so now we do our next example, which is 56% of 440. Okay, so here it goes 56% of 440. Okay, so how do we write this? We know 50%, and then we can say 5% and 1%. We could have also done 6 times 1%, which is the same. So 50% is half, so which is 220, plus 5% is basically the half of 10%. So 10% is 44, and 5% would be 22. Okay, and plus 1% is 2 points backwards, which is 4.4. so now we add this. And it should be 242. Okay, 242 plus 4.4, which is 246.4. all right, so that's the answer. Let's check if this is the answer. Yes, 246.4 is the answer. Okay, now let's just do the last one here. The last one is 31% of 200. Okay, so it's 31% of 200. So 31% can be written as 3 times 10% plus 1%. Okay, so 3 times 10% means 3 times 20. You just move one decimal backwards. Okay, plus 1%. 1% is 1% of 200 is 2 points backwards, which is 2. So 3 times 20 is 60, and plus 2, which is 62. So our answer is 62. Okay, so didn't you find that really easy to find percentages? It's practically possible to find any percentage with the same method, and it's going to be awesome. Really, it's going to be super easy for you. Now, wasn't that an amazing trick? I'm sure you loved it. Happy percentaging, and please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.